Hello and welcome back to our live stream, Mississippi Family Homestead. I'm Scott.
And I'm Tina.
We're-
And tonight we're going to be talking about canning and just the simplest way to start learning how to can, we believe, is trying to make some jelly. So there's several jelly recipes on, the internet, or, you may have an old family jelly recipe that you wanted to do, but one of the simplest things is to make jelly when you're canning. And you can just buy fruit juice. It just has to be 100% fruit juice in order to can. And you can use that fruit juice if you want to in canning, and that would be the simplest thing to do. So some of the materials that you'll need a pot. Um, it doesn't necessarily have to be a canning pot if you're just doing jelly, because you don't have to actually pressurize your jelly when you're canning them. All it needs is a water bath, and it just has to go into a hot boiling water for 10 minutes. So just keep in mind, you don't have to have anything fancy. You don't have to have a canner. You just have to have a pot with an insert in it, so it's kind of lifted up a little bit so your jars won't break. But that's all you need. You don't need, you don't have to have one of these extraordinary canners if you don't want to. So I've had a lot of fun canning, and learning how to can. And it was actually one of the first things that I wanted to do when we moved in, got our homestead and moved back. I said, let's can some jelly. And one of the first things I did was just to use the fruit juice to can. And you'll obviously need some canning jars for your jelly. I used the pint size, and I've also used the little cutesy ones to give away as a gift, the little bitty ones. And when you buy your jars, they actually do come with the lids and the sealer on here. Um, but if you're reusing them, you do have to buy new lids every time. You don't have to buy new rings, but you do have to buy new lids, because you cannot reuse those because they've already sealed out, and you don't want to reuse those. Once you have your jars, though, it's really a one-time investment. After you've emptied them, you can reuse them again. They last I think I've had most of my jars for about 4 years now, and I keep reusing them as long as you have your new lids. You'll also need some pectin. And um, pectin, what it does is it actually makes your jelly gel. And you'll need that, and it just comes in a little yellow thing. We use Sure Gel. There's probably other brands that you can get. And I don't like to use um, the pectin that doesn't have sugar in it. I just don't think it does well if you don't use sugar. But if you feel like you need to do it that way, then that's okay. This is some examples. This is actually blueberry jelly that I made from berries. And this is scuppernug jelly. And a lot of people say, what is scuppernug? Well, a scuppernug is a type of grape that you use, and it grows in the South. I don't
Kind of
know.
a southern grape, I
Yeah, I
guess.
guess it is. So I don't know if let me know in the comments below if the people up north have these, what you call a scuppernug down here. It is just, it tastes like a grape. It's just kind of a white grape, I guess you would say. It's kind of a brown looking grape. Um, so we really enjoy that. You will need a lifter. It's a canner lifter, and it helps you lift those cans out of the hot water. And I would recommend that you definitely get one of these if you're planning on canning. It just helps you with your safety when you're canning. And if you're going to use berries when you're canning, you need a cheesecloth, because what you have to do is you have to actually take these berries and cook them, and then you'll have to strain the juice out of them. Some people like to use the actual berry, which is called jam instead of jelly. I've never done that. I don't actually like jam. I don't like the little pieces of fruit in it, so I've always done just jelly. So we think that would be a good thing for beginners if you're trying to make jelly for the first time, and you're a beginner. Then jelly is the way that you want to go.
Now we do have this pressure cooker, but if you're doing
Yeah.
if it's not, certain things don't have to be pressure canned.
Yeah.
And like the jelly, does it have to be pressure
No,
canned?
the pressure it does not have to be pressure can. And
so you don't have to have the canner in order to do that.
exactly. You want a good ladle to ladle your juice into the jars, and some good juices that if you wanted to just use juice, you can do that, but you just got to make sure that it's 100% juice. Good juices are grape. I've used apple before, and sometimes you can get some of those flavored thing. It's like a mixed flavor if you wanted to try that. But you can use any juice as long as it's 100% juice. It can't be from concentrate. It has to be 100% juice if you're going to make jelly out of it. From concentrate just doesn't work. Let's see. So we talked about our supplies. Okay, so let's just talk about some basics of your cannon and what you want to do to get ready for your cannon. So what you need to do is you need to actually sterilize your jars before you use them, and your lids. But you don't want to get your lids so hot that it ruins the seal on them. So if you'll put your lids in your jars in your boiling water for about 5 minutes, that will sterilize them. You can also put your jars in the dishwasher if you have a dishwasher, and that will sterilize them.
Now we always still put them in boiling water.
To sterilize them before we do them. But that is one thing that you have to definitely do, is make sure that your jars are clean and sterilized. If they're not clean and sterilized, it can just invite germs in there, and you don't want that in your jelly, because the point is for it to set up on the shelf for at least a year, and you'll be able to use that jelly throughout the year. And so once you've done that and done your jars, you if you're using regular fruit and you have to strain it, we're going to put up a video, and we're going to show you maybe some ideas about different fruits that you can do. So I've done blueberry, and I've done the scuppernug.
This is
jelly.
the blueberry video here.
This is the blueberry.
And you can see the whole video on our channel.
Yeah. So first, when you're doing actual fruit, you want to take that and you've got to boil it down. So it needs to boil for about 20 minutes, a real good boil, a rolling boil for about 20 minutes, and cook those berries down real good. And once those have cooked down real good, then you will let them cool off a little bit, and then you're going to have to strain them. So if you're doing that, if you're doing them from the fruit, it does take longer than if you're just using, fruit juice that you bought from the store, because those will have to cook down and then actually cool off a little bit, so it's cool enough for you to kind of work with to mash those berries real good and get that fruit out of them. So the next step after those have boiled down a little bit is to put them in the cheesecloth. And there's different ones you can buy. You can actually buy the ones that you use for this. This one's just kind of got a little holder on it, and we use that. And you'll put your berries down in here, and you want to, before you take them out of your pot, you want to smash them real good, and then you'll take them and put them in the cheesecloth and let that juice drain out. It does take some time, Probably would have to do it in batches, so you can get all that good fruit juice out of there. Normally, when you do it, you want at least 4 to 5 cups of juice after you get through straining those berries out of there. And then after you do that and you have your juice ready, you will well, first you got to sterilize your jars, I guess. So make sure you're doing that. And when you get those sterilized, you're going to actually take
This is
your
us
fruit.
sterilizing the
Yeah,
jars here. We're putting it in boiling water in there.
Yeah. So it doesn't take real long once you actually get to the process of doing your jelly and your canning after you sterilize those jars. I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour, according to how much you're doing. If you're just doing one batch, it doesn't take as long. You're gonna actually put that juice over on the eye and add your pectin and your lemon juice. Just make sure you look up a good recipe for that. And actually, if you buy the Sure Gel, it actually has a recipe inside of it that tells you exactly how to do your juice and your pectin. You also may want to have, my secret is to have some lemon juice and put a little bit of lemon juice in there, and also some butter, because it keeps it, because when jelly cooks, it gets a lot of foam on the top of it. So in order to keep it from getting that foam on the top, then if you put butter in there, it keeps it from being really foamy and going down. That's us cooking down the berries there. And so I'm sterilizing the jars as you look at them.
Some people, we did have this thing upside down.
We did. We had this upside down a few times, and people pointed that out to us. So we did make a mistake, but everybody makes mistakes. It really isn't hard to make the jelly and to get it going. You do need sugar, lots of sugar, if you're making jelly. And our cat is over here in the middle of stuff again, distracting us. Do I need to remove the cat?
You might want to. So, but here we are, cooking up the berries, getting them ready for the canning, and then she's gonna press them and get all the juice out of them.
I can't exactly get to the cat.
So
we're sorry, this is live, y'all.
We had the same problem last night.
I think we need to just shut the door.
Yeah, we need to shut the door and get rid.
She's got to stay there.
Okay, but she's laying on the switcher is the problem.
Well.
So don't trip and hit anything. But yeah, she's pressing the goal is to get the juice off of them.
This is the other cat. We have 3 cats.
3 too many. Yeah. And here's the strainer. You got this on. Did you get this on Amazon?
That strainer right there is one that I've had for the whole 5 years that we've been here, and I think that I actually bought that at a store, and I love it because, as you see, I'm holding up that other one. It doesn't work as well. The one that has a little stand on it actually allows me to be hands-free, and I can put my berries down in there and let it drip by itself, and I don't have to sit there and hold it. But I don't remember where I bought it from, but I've had it for 5 years now. And I've looked for another one like it, but I can't find any like it. So, I bought that other one that you just hold, like this one that we have here. And it doesn't allow you to be hands-free. So I don't like it as well as I like my other one there, where I can just stand it up, and it's actually got a stand on it so it can drip all that.
There's where the good juice is coming out right there.
Yeah. So yeah, see, you can just kind of set that to the side and let it go. And then, since I had so much berries this time, I tried to do it the other way, and it just didn't work as well because you can't really be hands free with it. So you can kind of see
So do
me.
you still have the one on the stands?
Yes, I still have that. Just know that once you use that cheesecloth for a while, it's not going to be all white and pretty. You need to probably put some baking soda through it, or something to try to get it pretty again, because it won't be all pretty and nice like this one that we've got here. It kind of gets kind of ugly looking, I guess, but as long as you clean it, it's fine. So, yeah. So, see, this one you just kind of have to hold it, and it's not real good use, I don't think. I mean, if you had something to prop it on or hold it on, then it might work better. But really love the one that you can put on the little stand. And once you put it in that cheesecloth, you kind of want to squeeze the jelly out of it and get it out of there. The juice, not the jelly. Squeeze the juice out of there real good. And, that's just your step that you have to do when you're doing it from berries. So
It really makes a really good tasting jelly.
it does. It does. You do need, make sure that you get, it seems like a lot of sugar that you put in there. You think about it. I mean, you're putting your jelly on toast or something. It's not, you're not eating all that sugar at one time, and you're putting it's distributed between all these little jars. It does seem like a lot, but that's what it takes to make your jelly taste good. So, especially if you're working with a kind of a bitter fruit like blackberries, they're kind of bitter, and you do need all of that sugar to make them taste right. So, that's me just still trying to get that juice together to go in the pot and do my jelly. And once you have all that done, you can see that we'll probably put it on in a pot on the stove and cook it down and make our jelly. So there we are, putting it in the pot. And
so do you boil it again?
Yes, you're gonna. Well, now that it's juice, you got to bring it up to a boil again. And as you can see, I'm putting my butter in there because that keeps it from foaming. So, see all that foam on the top of it? Once you put that butter in there, it helps get rid of all that foam, and you don't have to skim it off. If you don't use butter, it'll have a lot of foam on there, and you'll want to skim that off before you actually put it in your jars to cook it.
By the way, if you have any questions, any comments, please let us know in the chat. And if you're watching it after and have something that you would like us to do on live stream, let us know in the chat as well. We read all the chats, and we're planning on doing this every weeknight at 7:30 Central. So we hope you can join us if you're into homesteading or canning and raising chickens and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you put your pectin in there, and then you're gonna let it come to a boil, and then you add your sugar, and it has to cook back down, and come to a boil again, and then your jelly will be ready. So let's talk about maybe some mistakes that you might make, or something may not turn out right. Just make sure that you look up a good jelly recipe. It gives good instructions, and research it, because some people will tell you to put your pectin in there at the very first, and some people tell you to put your pectin in there after you've added your sugar. And see what most people, how it comes out better, for them, and make sure you just research that and do it, correctly. Or you will
You
have.
can try it both ways too, probably.
Yeah, you probably can. So once you've gotten all that jelly together and putting it in your jars, you're going to actually put it in your water bath, and for I think it's 10 minutes, I think, and that will seal your jars, and it has to set for 24 to 72 hours to seal those jars up. And once those are sealed, then you want to just check them to make sure that there's not, it'll, when you press down on the lid, it'll be like this. If it's not sealed, it makes a noise, and you kind of press on it. But if it's real good and sealed, you can't do that.
You'll hear them pop.
Yeah, you'll hear them pop. And but yeah, if they make like a popping noise if they're not sealed. Now if they was to not seal, then you would put that one in the refrigerator and try to use it first. But I've never had a problem with mine not sealing. So I guess I'm doing it right. And there's other things that you can actually once you've done the jelly for the first time, you can try. One of our favorite things to do is to do pickles. My husband, Scott, loves dill pickles. So, it's kind of easy to do the dill pickles too, and they don't have to go in a pressure bath either. Just again, find you a good recipe. And especially in the summertime, you have lots of cucumbers. You want to use the right kind of cucumbers, because if you use the wrong ones, they don't work as well. But it's the pickling cucumbers. And if you've ever grown cucumbers before, they usually do really, really well, and you have a lot of them. So, they make really good dill pickles. So if you have, if you can find you a good recipe for that, that's another easy thing that you can do in your canning, or maybe for your first year of homesteading, grow some cucumbers and do some pickles, and try your jelly. We have canned green things before, like butter beans and peas, and soups and things, and those have turned out okay, but they were a little more harder to do, because you have to do actually pressure can vegetables and meats. So just know that they're not quite as simple. So if you're doing for the first time, I would suggest that you do either, some jelly or some pickles that don't require a pressure canner.
And if you do the pressure canning, you need to really research and see the safety part of it. There's certain pressures that you need to learn how to do, and for certain altitudes. And I think there's different charts on there to tell you all that stuff, but you want to make sure that's safe, because this is a way of storing your food. So you want to make sure that it's done just right to make it all safe.
That's right. A lot of our vegetables, we don't can. We have a freezer, and we put them in the freezer, and, they do really well. But if you don't have a whole big, huge freezer, then it does make more sense for you to do some canning with your vegetables and stuff. And
here we are putting on the lids.
Yeah, so we're putting on the lids.
Got to make sure that it's clean when you put it on.
That's right. So you'll want to take a little cloth, and after you put your juice in there, and run it around the top of that jar before you put your lids on. And then you're just going to finger tighten those as you put them on there. And then they go in your water bath once you get all your little lids on there. And I think this year, I did, I don't know, a bunch of blueberries, because we had a lot of them. And they're one of the easiest ones to do, in my opinion, because the blueberries are small, they're easy to cook and mash, and to get the juice out of them. The scuppernug is a little bit harder to do, or a grape would be a little bit harder to do, just because it's harder to get the juice out of those grapes than it is the blueberries, to me.
Again, we're not pressure canning these. These are just a water bath. They boil for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, 10 minutes. And what's nice about doing these little jars, you can put a lot of them in your, in your canner. So those have been in there for 10 minutes, and we're taking them out, and then we will wait for those to seal 24 to 48 hours. You know, they say that, but I think all of mine usually seal within the first
Yeah,
few
they're pretty
hours.
quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here's that's how they look when they're finished. Now, these are the Scupplenugs. I think that's the proper way to pronounce it.
Yes,
And
yes.
they're kind of like a grape. But you squeeze the inside out, and they're really
Well, they really
good
are
to
a
eat.
grape. They're just a southern grape, I
Yeah.
guess. I guess my whole life I have ate those, and we had them, growing up. Um, I guess I was grown before I thought, well, most people don't call these scuppernuggs and have them, but we do down here. So let us know in the comments if you have those, or the the scuppernuggs.
Muscadine, isn't it the same
It
kind of similar to
okay,
that?
so they say muscadines, but when I was growing up, a muscadine was a dark grape, and it had little, I don't know, it was really, really a dark, almost black color. And that's what we called muscadines. But I did read that scuppernuggs are a muscadine also, but they're just a white one, I guess, instead of the dark
They're
ones.
even good to just eat
Ye-
right off the vine.
Yes, they're like delicious. To get to eat them like that, the fruit, the juice out of them. They're just a little bit more harder to do to me than the blueberries are, but same kind of thing. You're gonna use that cheesecloth to drain that juice out of them. It makes a pretty juice. And a lot of people, which I would like to try, is to make actual juice out of those. I guess it'd be the same kind of thing. I need to research that some more.
You
But
probably have to have a lot of them to make some juice.
yeah, you probably do. Like a whole, field of them. So yeah, same kind of thing with those though. You drain that juice, and then you're gonna do the same thing that you do with the blueberries. You need your sugar and all of that to make your jelly. But you can use any fruit. I've done blackberries before, and I love blackberries anyway. That's another thing that we eat down here in the South.
And these are wild blackberries that
Yes,
we use.
they are.
We didn't have you have to hit them at just the right time and get out and pick them and
Yeah.
find them.
But we love blackberries, and you can make a lot of times in the summer, especially, you can get just baskets of blueberries or baskets of grapes, and it really doesn't take that much to make your 4 cups of juice. Once you get it all boiled down and make your juice, usually you'll make about your 4 cups of juice that you need. But you can go buy those, from the grocery store or something. You don't.
I definitely think the easiest way to start is just buying the grape juice.
Yes, I think I did some with just grape juice. I did some with apple juice, and something else. I can't remember what else I may have done. Maybe some kind of mixed fruit or something. Now, citrus fruit doesn't do as well to make, you don't, if you're going to make marmalade, which is what, it's like an orange jelly, I would really look into that before you made that. I think it's a little different than making from fruits like grapes and blueberries. But there we are, putting a pectin in there and getting our Scuppernug juice ready. So,
And if you want to watch these videos are on our
they are.
YouTube channel, Mississippi Family Homestead.
And it gives you some really, really good details there on, and clear instructions on what to do and how to make those jellies.
One day we need to just do that live.
Maybe so. Maybe I need to just get some regular fruit juice and show y'all how easy it is just to do the fruit juice.
So how long does the whole process with the fruit juice take?
The fruit juice doesn't take long at all. 30 minutes, if that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As long as you have your supplies together, and you, I think that it doesn't take but about 30 minutes. So.
It really looks good.
Yeah, it does. Now, what I like to do too is I give the jelly away for, you can order little cute little things to go on top of your jars to make it look pretty, and, some little labels or something. And I think you can actually buy labels that you print out, but it makes really good Christmas gifts. I give that, I do that. And for Christmas, I give my jelly away, and people, they love it. They really do. Um, they tell me, how much they've enjoyed it every time I give them a jar of the homemade jelly. It's just not something a lot of people do, is make a homemade jelly. It's so easy to just go buy some, I guess. But I enjoy doing it. And when you make the jelly, if you make, you know, 10 jars of jelly, they're really, according to how much you eat, they'll last for a year, and so you don't have to buy any.
So, do you
So
think it's cheaper if you make a whole year's worth
I
than
think it
buying it?
is. I think it is, especially for us, because it doesn't really, once you buy your jars, you reuse those. These lids don't cost anything, really, to buy a
So,
new.
the first time may cost a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. And see, for this one, we're actually using just a regular pot. We're not using the canner. So, yeah. See how pretty that is? And we're just using that jar lifter to take them out of that water bath.
yeah. So that's kind of how you. That's a good thing if you're just starting homesteading to, and you want to make something homemade. Um, that's a really good
Yeah.
thing to do.
And people appreciate it if you give them as gifts.
Yeah, and
So they
that
do.
that's one way to stock the pantry. If you want to start stocking the pantry, you see all these homesteading channels with all this rows and rows of canned stuff, and that's probably one of the best, easiest ways to
Yeah.
start is make some homemade jelly.
Yeah. So we enjoy making it. I really do. I really do. I think it's fun making the jelly.
So hopefully that's been helpful to you. We're gonna try to be here at 7:30 Central every weeknight. If you've got something you want to talk about, just please let us know in the chat. We watch out for the chat and like to see you next week. So just let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.